We're talking Tennessee recruiting. Priority targets on the Tennessee recruiting board. Coaches are on the road all week making key visits. So I got Matt Ray here with me. We're going to break it all down. But first, Tennessee fans, do me a favor. Hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We talk Vol recruiting all offseason long. Need you to jump on and hit subscribe for me, please. All right, let's bring on Matt Ray from VolQuest. Hey. All right. We're going to talk O-line board. It is deep. It is talented. We've been talking about it on this channel all offseason. Now, I know they're going to see Dontrell Glover this week. He's a former Florida State commit that they are making a priority. But we got to talk about a couple of recent developments at the very top of the board. We're talking Josh Petty, David Sanders. So the news comes out that Steve Wiltfong dropped a Fong bomb for Josh Petty to Florida State. Now, Petty's from Georgia. He's made a lot of visits to Tennessee. Do you feel that the Vols are out of it, or is this just an early prediction from Steve?
No, Josh, I don't feel like the Vols are out of it. I still would expect Josh Petty to make it back to campus here at the 1st of June, and that's going to be a big visit. And it was always going to be a big visit for Tennessee. It's been a little while since Josh Petty visited Knoxville.
Yeah.
So, again, to get him back in the middle of that official visit schedule, he shuffled some things around to get back there. So I think it's a priority to Josh Petty to get back to Tennessee before he makes a decision. Joey Halsley and Glenn Ellerby were in on Tuesday morning to check in on him at Fellowship Christian there in Roswell. And I think Tennessee's just going to continue to push there. But I think Florida State has been a long-time contender in this, so it's pretty easy to see, some of the things that they have working in their favor, that kind of goes into Steve's prediction as well.
All right. Now, let's talk about David Sanders, because the big news this week was that he popped up kind of surprisingly at Ohio State for his second unofficial visit of the offseason. Last month, though, we were talking about Tennessee because they got David Sanders on back-to-back visits, and it was all about Tennessee. But now it's all Ohio State. If you're talking to Tennessee fans right now about how they should feel about David Sanders, what would you tell them?
Continue to feel like coming out of the spring that Tennessee's put their best foot forward and, position themselves as well as they could for David Sanders. And I think talking back and forth between Austin and myself, we continue to feel that way. I think Tennessee has shown David Sanders and his family a lot of things. And those two visits right there in about a 6-day span between a spring practice on Saturday and an orange and white game were important visits for David Sanders. There's some belief that he could make it back to town, at the end of May. We'll see if that happens when Tennessee hosts its 865 live event.
Right.
But overall, those June official visits, I think for me, were always going to be the deciding factor for David Sanders. And Tennessee set to host him on June 14th on a priority weekend for the Vols. And I think that's going to be the visit, that kind of shapes everything for Tennessee as they push toward the finish line.
Yeah, I think, like you said, if you're looking at this up close, it might feel like Ohio State is taking the momentum away from Tennessee. But like you said, if you take a step back and kind of realize that, hey, these official visits are still going to matter a lot, don't get caught up in what kind of happens in these middle months, then yes, the focus is still on Tennessee. They are still in a good spot. Just had to get it cleared up for Tennessee fans. You know how recruiting goes. All right, now.
Absolutely.
The Volunteers are doing a great job when it comes to locking down in-state wide receiver talent. But they want to go national and land at least one of these national big-time names. And I'm talking Caleb Cunningham, Jamie French, Derek Meadows, Travis Smith. So out of the guys I just mentioned, who do you think Tennessee could add from that group?
I think it's pretty interesting. I think, Tennessee's going to check on Jamie French later this week. They're checking on Caleb Cunningham right about now, about the time of this recording. They saw Travis Smith on Monday. They saw Derek Meadows last week. Derek Meadows is kind of the guy that I think is interesting. Out of this group, he hasn't been to Tennessee as much as the others have, but he'll be back, to kind of kick off June on his official visit tour. He'll get into town May 31st and start taking his official visit with Tennessee and then take the rest of his official visits. But to me right now, Josh, I think Travis Smith is the guy that Tennessee's continued to show the most for. I think overall he's had a long-standing relationship with Kelsey Pope, Josh Heupel. He was here in the spring. He'll be back in June. I think Travis Smith really saw a lot from the Tennessee offense during that spring visit. Dante Thornton made some explosive plays during the practice setting. Tennessee was able to really kind of show him how he fit in. Now, this is Georgia's not going to lay down. Alabama's not going to lay down. It's a heavyweight battle for Travis Smith, and there's definitely some things that I think are pulling him toward Athens as well. I think if you talk to people on that side, I think Georgia feels pretty good about their chances. So, it's going to be, at the end of the day, very interesting to see where things go with Travis Smith. But Tennessee's been at or near the top of this recruitment really since the fall. So I think I would still kind of lean towards Travis Smith out of that grouping.
All right, yeah, all those names that I listed, none of them are going to come easy, but they're all potential targets there for Tennessee that are on the board. All right, before I let you go, any other key visits taking place this week? I know over on VolQuest, I was checking it out, and you guys are listing dozens and dozens of stops by the Tennessee staff, but who is some of the most important names we haven't hit on?
Yeah, so I think Tennessee will see David Sanders later in the week. They'll make their rounds in North Carolina. Huge. Like I said, they'll see Jamie French. Obviously, when you see David Sanders, you see Leo Delaney. Joey Halsley will see top 2026 quarterback Faison Brandon. And Alec Ablin will check on five-star athlete. Tennessee's recruiting him as a tight end, Kendra Harrison. So there's still some big visits to be had throughout the week for the Tennessee coaching staff.
Yeah, lots of big visits taking place all week. Like I said, go check out VolQuest. They got all the details on recruiting, on football, whatever you need, it's there. Matt Ray, thank you for joining the Inside Scoop. Oh, let me get you. Oh, wrong one. Hold on. Stay there. There we go. Hey, Matt Ray.
There we go.
Well, you've made it to the end of today's video, but there's hundreds more videos on the On3 Recruits channel for you to check out. And also, while you're here, hit subscribe.